Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel Wolves versus Chelsea Premier League match preview. Frank Lampard has returned. Frank Lampard is the Chelsea manager, and we are going to pick two potential starting 11s that we could see Frank Lampard implement for Chelsea tomorrow at the Molineux. I don't know about you guys, but the excitement to watch Chelsea play has been void for a while. I've been nervous in kind of like a weird way that if we keep losing, it gets more embarrassing. Like, look at the money we've spent. The moment Chelsea don't succeed on the pitch, we are the laughing stock of the footballing world. And I would argue, rightly so. I'm more than happy to sit here and take the piss out of Tottenham. I'm more than happy to do it about Liverpool and every other club. So we've got to suck it up and admit that this season has been a shambles. An absolute shambles. But there is potentially a silver lining here. In all of this, we have made it to a quarter-final of the Champions League. And you can argue that this game against Wolves is simply a run-out warm-up to get a bit of confidence in the legs, a bit of confidence in the brain, because we're going to need legs and brains to beat Real Madrid over two legs in the Champions League. Karim Benzema is scoring back-to-back hat-tricks just before Chelsea come to town. We could not have written a more difficult script for Chelsea getting this done, but still, despite all of this going on with Real Madrid, Chelsea have made themselves the most talked about club in the world again, as we quite frequently do, by hiring Frank Lampard, a man who was sacked less than 2.5 years ago. We've been through Champions League wins, Tuchel and Graham Potter since, and we're back to Lampard in charge. I spoke at great detail in today's Chelsea news video about the press conference from Frank Lampard. I think it was supposed to be the presser for the Wolves game. I'm not sure if there is another one today. I'm recording this in the morning because I've actually got stuff to do that isn't make Chelsea videos for once this afternoon. But Lampard came across very well, and I think it was made very clear from the frequent questions about Real Madrid, about what he's here to do. This game against Wolves, what we need to see is the players being up for it. Because of the injury crisis that Chelsea went through earlier in this season, I do think there might be an element of preservation in the Frank Lampard team, whether that is through the starting 11 or the in-game management of just making sure that your Kantés, your Jameses don't play too many minutes and risk not being available for that match. That is very important. You also could look at Ben Chilwell in that category too. Don't think Thiago Silva is back, but as well as that, we've been nursing returns for Wesley Fofana, Edouard Mendy. Lampard wasn't really the biggest Kepa fan during his time as Chelsea manager, so could we see Edouard Mendy back between the sticks? I've gone with two different lineups today that we will go through in a moment. But Wolverhampton Wanderers underachieving massively this season. New managers come in, and it's been inconsistent at best. And Chelsea know, because we've been to the Molineux and struggled here before. But we've also been under Frank Lampard. If you haven't checked out that video yet, link in the description. I went over the match vlog, reacted to it. It was fun. And we also had a look there at various different 11s that Chelsea could use that replicate that of what we saw during that win against Wolves a few years ago. It was an amazing day. But with Wolves, it's going to be difficult. It's always a tough place to go. And every team that Chelsea play now are going to see Chelsea as their little cup final, because rubbing salt into the wounds of a club who are seriously underachieving is desirable for clubs that aren't fighting for trophies. So the reason Chelsea have struggled is not always just because of the manager not being good enough or the players can't finish. Teams make things difficult for Chelsea. Teams understand now that Chelsea struggle massively with breaking down low blocks because we don't have a proper striker. And when you watch Chelsea's build-up play, it's incredibly slow. One of the main things I think we'll see from this Chelsea tomorrow is potentially erratic moments as a result of really going for it and trying. I think Frank will try and get the fans back on side by trying to install a brand of football that entertains us again. When was the last time we watched Chelsea and genuinely were blown away by what we saw? To believe that we can just go to that immediately just because Potter's not there is a little bit short-sighted. It's not going to happen. There is still a lot of gelling going on in the dressing room. But at the same time, anything's got to be better than the absolute dross that we've become accustomed to this season. It's been slow, it's been pedestrian, it's been profligate, all of those words that I have used countless times here on GBFC. It's time now to get excited, but we also need to see a translation between our excitement and see it on the pitch. Chelsea have got so many talented players that I think if managers just continue to fail at this club, then the only thing I'll be able to say is we're cursed with black magic. It's that bad at this point that we've got so many good players that we're 11th. It's time to change that. And whether or not we'll actually move up from 11th this weekend isn't entirely up to us, is it? So we've got to start somewhere. So without any further ado, I'm going to build the 11 that I would like to see. And then I'm also going to show you a potential 11 which sees less changes from what we've been used to recently. And it's also the same formation that Lampard used at Wolves last time. And it's not the same as what I said in my other video. So make sure you stay till the end and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below as to what you would do or what you think Frank will do in this game tomorrow. So this is a 4-3-3 and I have kept Kepa in goal. I said it in a video yesterday, maybe just throwing Mendy back in there is a bit too big of a call right now for Lampard. Kepa's been playing. Yes, there have been moments where mistakes have been made. Yes, he's still not very good at saving long shots. But overall, statistically, Kepa's had a good season for Chelsea. And a stat that I find absolutely mind-blowing, which I'm sure a lot of you are aware of this. Chelsea have only conceded 4 more goals in the Premier League this season than the potential champions Arsenal. So defensively, as much as there have been some shambolic moments, to say the least, of individual errors, overall, as a unit, Chelsea haven't been that bad. And Kepa's been making a lot of big saves at a lot of big moments. So he starts in goal. The back 4. Benoit Badiashile. How has this guy... I don't know anybody in the Chelsea fan base who communicates their thoughts, feelings and emotions about the club, who genuinely thinks that omission of Badiashile from the Chelsea team is justified. My back 4 is Chilwell left back, Reece James right back, Fofana, Badiashile in the middle. This to me is beyond a solid back 4. Yes, Chilwell and James are so much better going forwards. But when we move into the midfield, there are specifically 2 players that can do a very good defensive job for us to allow width overloads from a James or a Chilwell. Wesley Fofana. Let's talk about this guy for a moment. This guy is going to be a mainstay in the Chelsea defence for the next 10 years. He is Chelsea's answer to Thiago Silva when Thiago Silva unfortunately hangs up his boots, which sadly won't be in 10 years' time. It's going to be sooner than that. We've got to get used to it. And Wesley Fofana, since he came back in the team, has probably proved himself to be the best Chelsea signing of the summer window. I think Enzo immediately is the number 1 signing overall, but Wesley Fofana has become an undroppable player if he's fit. In my opinion, he's one of the 5 players that whoever it is managing Chelsea Football Club, Wesley Fofana has got to be a mainstay in this team. He is absolutely sensational. Let's move into a midfield 3. Now, this is a mixture of excitement, but also a discussion needs to be had because Mason Mount is Frank Lampard's player. Let's be real here. I'm not going to go ahead and use the sarcastic terms, oh, it's father and son, daddy's back, that I've heard. But Mason Mount under Frank Lampard was a phenomenal footballer. And it is within Chelsea's interests, whether or not he is to be signing a new Chelsea deal or not. Mason Mount should be playing for Chelsea right now. He's not been because he's been injured. I think there is an element where the off the pitch, not signing a new deal stuff, you never know. With these new owners, it could have been a don't play him if he's not signing. You never know. It could be that, but we don't know that. But there is still a fantastic footballer in there that once again needs to be unlocked. And I think Frank Lampard, if ever there was a man that could get Mount back to those peak moments that we've seen so far as a Chelsea player, it is Frank Lampard. And with Enzo Fernandez and N'Golo Kante next to him, we've got defensive cover there. I think it would probably be Enzo in front of the defence with Kante and Mount roaming as 8s. But at the same time, you could also see Enzo and Kante holding. Chelsea, with this formation, it is just an exciting one, in my opinion. To see a 4-3-3, I think it could work. What Lampard really struggled with during his time at Chelsea was not having quality in a pivot. If it was a 4-2-3-1, Frank struggled because, quite frankly, even back then, Jorginho was struggling in this Chelsea team. Kovacic has missed out on both my starting 11s here, but if I'm being realistic, I think Mateo Kovacic 100% starts for Frank because he was a much used player last time Frank was manager. And also with Kante, we've got to be so careful about just... I pray that he's fit for Real Madrid, because if Kante's there with Enzo in the middle, Chelsea have got a real chance, because that is a strong midfield. And the reason I've picked Kante over Kova is because Kova and Enzo have already built a partnership. If Chelsea are to beat Real Madrid, we need more minutes for Kante and Enzo together to build that partnership. They look good in the game against Liverpool, I'm not going to lie. My front three, Sterling, Felix, Mudryk. I really want to see this. People are saying, Noni Madueke, let's just go. Let's chuck Kane Chukwuemeka in there. I think until we understand the dynamic of how this tie against Real Madrid is going to go, for example, if we get battered 5-0, then it is just experiment time for Lampard. I really believe that. Try and get the best out of some of the youngsters, get the best out of the new signings, just so that when that new manager comes in, and we've flushed out some of the players that are older and not necessarily wanted or needed anymore, then we're ready. But until we're out the Champions League, pragmatism has to come into things, and trying to build relationships with players who clearly have struggled to build those relationships on the pitch comes from game time together. So Mudryk, he is going to be important for Chelsea against Real Madrid. After what we saw against Liverpool, it's hard to believe he can be a match winner, because quite frankly, in front of goal, we all could have done a bit better than what he did. But at the same time, Wolves have struggled at times this season. They're down at the bottom. Let's give him a run out, get him his first goal before Real Madrid, let the confidence flow through a highly talented player, and let's see what we can do. Joao Felix, I still need to make my video on him because I've got so much to say about this guy. I just want to see him play. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to most about tomorrow, is seeing Joao Felix play. I really pray that he scores, because I think there's so much he's got to offer, but I'm going to save it for the other video. And Sterling back as well, because once again, Frank could call upon experience for Real Madrid. We're going to need experienced players out there. Sterling needs minutes. So that's my 4-3-3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's take a look at a 3-4-2-1. We're not going to build it. I'm just going to show you it and discuss it. Edouard Mendy is in goal for this one, which I think maybe Kepa's better with the ball at his feet, so it might have been better to put Mendy in goal for the 4 at the back, and maybe Kepa in goal for this one. Fofana, Koulibaly, Cucurella, Reece James, Enzo, Kante, Chilwell, Felix, Havertz, Mount. I just think there's no way that Mount won't be picked. Lampard has said it in his press conference that he needs to get him back playing again, so he's going to probably start him against Wolves, because he's not going to throw him in against Real Madrid with no minutes. So if Mount doesn't feature against Wolves, by the way, I'll be shocked. Then I definitely think it's something from above. This is a good option, and this is the same formation that Frank used to great effect in Chelsea's 5-2 win away at Wolves in 2019 September on a beautiful day, full of sun and warmth at the Molineux. This is again a good Chelsea team, and I think Frank has seen what we've all seen. There's talent there. Whether or not Frank Lampard in 48 hours can do enough tactically to influence this Chelsea team, I highly doubt it. The energy surrounding Lampard's appointment, the players are going to like him. The majority of players are going to love Frank Lampard, apart from maybe Ziyech, possibly Kepa. So this is a time now for Chelsea to ride the wave of the energetic boost that has come through the club. The fans are going to be beyond up for this one at the Molineux, as we will be for Champions League, that's obvious, and then Brighton at home at Stamford Bridge. From now and the end of the season, all I want to see, other than let's give Real Madrid the best game we possibly can, I'm keeping myself grounded with this, it's going to be so tough. I just want to see fight, and I slowly want to see the players that we know are talented given the minutes in their correct positions. I don't want to see making do anymore because we're struggling. Change the formation then. Let's see a 4 at the back once in a while. Let's see a 3. Experiment, but do it more so if we're out the Champions League. But until then, we've got to see relationship building, and I want to see passion. I want to see fight, and I know Frank Lampard will bring this to this Chelsea team. Let me know which one of my 2 lineups you like the most. If you like none of them, then also let me know your lineup in the comments down below. Score predictions. That's what comes at the end of every match preview. I think the manager bounce is going to really impact these Chelsea players. I can't see us not scoring. Lampard gets us scoring. Let me throw some crazy numbers out on the gauntlet. Wolves 1, Chelsea 4. Let's just flipping run riot, shall we, at the Molineux. We've seen us win by a 3-goal margin under Super Frank before. Let's do it again. Let's build momentum. Go to Real Madrid and be like, we're not scared of you. And we can do it. We just haven't been able to finish. So how have I been able to sit here and say that with any integrity? But I do believe. I believe. As silly as it may be. Might just be 0-0, mightn't it? But anyway, If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. Thank you for all the love and support. It's been the busiest week in the history of this YouTube channel, and you guys have been lapping it up with the love. So thank you so much. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll be live tomorrow for about 4 hours, and then 6 things we learned after the game, and maybe Chelsea news in the morning if there's enough to talk about. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Come on, you Blues.